And Kelly Stewart here, hanging out with you guys each and every Sunday, taking you up until kickoff. That is, if you're dropping questions in the chat for our handicappers today, we have a wonderful lineup of Gianni the Greek. You guys know him as the Greek gambler over at WagerTalk.com. We've got John Murray from the Westgate SuperBook, and we've got the Prez host and, face of Wager Talk today, as well as the NFL presidential address. He's been red hot in NFL, which is why he gets that coveted last seat. VR's also been very hot, and right now he's over there in the steam room. So as soon as he gets a second to have a break, he's going to pop over here with us, take any of your questions, and give us some last-minute bets. So your participation here on Sunday morning is mandatory. Make sure you guys jump in that comment section, give us a like, and hit that subscribe button. Let's see if VR is ready for us, if we can catch him for a 3 or 4 minute spot here in between the steam room. VR, tell me what's going on in the steam room on this beautiful Sunday morning.
We got a lot to get to. I've been going over each and every game. We're about halfway through, Kelly, and I got a couple props that came in, a bunch of team totals, first half team totals, a game team total that I'm able to share with them that's actionable and time sensitive information. So I can't use it for subscribers, but if you're there live, you can fire. So that's what we're doing now. We also went over the money management system for 2025, coming off my first losing year in a handful. I had 2 losing years over the last 10. The last losing year, the next one was a record-breaking one. Hopefully we do the same this year. So that's what's going on. I got my first 5% of 2025 going off today as well. Lines moving in my direction. So I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for everything going on in 2025 and a lot to cover so far. So you just let me know where you want to go, Kel. I'm all over it.
Yeah, let's get right into it. I love those team totals. As you mentioned, you cannot always release them to subscribers. So we get them for free right here on Last Call. Let's start off with those and anything else that you want to add for NFL. And then, of course, we'll finish up and see if there's some teasers available.
Perfect. Here's some of those team totals. And how these help you is even when it's gone, it lets you know that that's the side, at least, that not only that the sharps bet, that got respect from the sports book. So maybe you like a first half under for the game or the game under, and you see maybe the favorites being bet team total under. So they're the favorite, expected to win, not expected to score a lot of points. Kind of put the puzzle together. Here's the team totals we got in on. 340 Packers, under 14, first half. Under 14, up to minus 120. Also, first half team total. Kansas City Chiefs, under 7, up to minus 125. And Washington Commanders, under 14. First half team total, under 14, up to about minus 120. The only full game team total I have is the Carolina Panthers. That's the Panthers side with what Bryce Young, over 19.5, up to 130 on that team total. Now, I looked at the back end before I jumped on. There's 5 sides that are jumping off more than any other. They're being straight bet, they're being teased, and they're being parlayed by the betting public. So even though the sharps did get down on a handful of these, we'll touch on them real quickly. It's the public that is driving the money today. That's Tampa Bay. That's why it's no longer 14. That's Washington Redskins, why it's all the way up to a key number of 7. It's Kansas City, which is surprising because that line's climbing. So even though the public continues to pound the Chiefs, it doesn't matter. So there's a lot of sharp money that disagrees there. Buffalo, and that's reflected in the line now, going through the key number of 3 to 3.5 at the sharper shops. And finally, the Chargers also bet up to that key number of 7. So you see, the sharps stopped betting some of those at about 4.5, 5. It's the public that's now bet them up to those key numbers of 7. That's what we're seeing real fast. Some of the sharper action earlier in the week, it was the New Orleans Saints that were getting money because of the win, and you win the South for Tampa. There's usually a premium attached on those teams. Patriots lose, they get the number 1 draft pick. I think that's behind the narrative of the Buffalo Bills. And of course, Josh Allen's going to play because he has to keep that consecutive streak going. But how long is he going to play? Dude, you lose these guys on a meaningless game, you're going to catch a lot of heat final week of the season. You got no reason to really care. I don't think you're going to see much time from him. So be careful there. One-sided Packers money, not sure why. Jets, obviously with Tua out, that's what they were betting from earlier in the week. That was the anticipation. It's why they took the 2.5 on the Jets. That's what the sharps did. I told you the Broncos is sharp, but they got a better number than what it's right now, just like Washington is sharp, but a better number than what they got right now. And Lions and Vikings, the game I really wanted to cover real quick because I think that's going to get so much attention on Sunday night. As of right now, you have a little more money and a little higher ticket count on the Minnesota Vikings. Not surprising. They're the dog. It was at that 3, and they were getting a lot of teasers as well. Today, it's a lot more balanced. I think by the time we kick off, that's a game you want to book because you're going to get good two-way action, and that's what you expect in a game like that. The only big risk is going to be that over. And we saw it climb from 51, 52 all the way to 58, 58 and a half. But that's where the sharp said, this is ridiculous. You can't have an NFL total up to 58, 59, and they started betting it under. Now, that could be true, or it could be like, wait, the game's changed a little bit, and we will start seeing 60s over the next couple of years. Hasn't happened yet, so I think the sharps are still sticking to that, what they know long term. Most NFL games don't have that many points. So pretty much that's what we got going. And again, you could tell just by looking at some of these line moves how significantly they move. The Seahawks, the Commanders, the Falcons. Like, you could tell yourself where the money is. It's just, is there any more value now in betting those teams once those lines get away with you? Be very selective this week. Don't forget, playoffs start next week where it really matters. So save, protect that capital. Don't lose money. Don't lose money. Don't lose money. Warren Buffett's number one rule should be ours as sports bettors as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, VR. Really quick, Barry has a question on the Minnesota team total. He said he's got 27.5 currently.
Here's what I don't like. I don't disagree with the bet. Obviously, that's what you would expect, higher scoring, especially you see Minnesota, they've put 27 or higher in 4 straight games. The problem is, I think you're being asked to pay a premium because of that game total. Like, it's a primetime standalone game. We know the bias of bettors are favorites and over indefinitely. And when you have two teams coming in off some high scoring games, I mean, you have Minnesota, they scored a ton of points. You have the Detroit, they put 40 up last week, 34 the week before that, 42 the week before that, 34 before that. Eventually, the market's going to correct itself. And I think that's what we're seeing now with that crazy high total. I don't want to talk you off a bet, but you're paying a premium to bet either of these team totals over in Detroit and Minnesota because of all that over money that came in.
That makes a lot of sense, VR. That's probably why these guys that you work with focus on a lot of unders, as we've seen all season long. All right, let's go over some teasers. I gave out a teaser on Wednesday. I broke the rule on Bet on it, and neither of those legs are available. So somebody pray for me. I'm going to need to be the benefit of good luck, as VR likes to say. But I did do 3 open teaser legs yesterday with the Steelers. Very happy to get that first leg through. Give me a couple other teaser legs that you think are a good match here. We're about 51 minutes until kickoff.
Yep. As long as you check your clock at about 10 of, and it stays pretty much where we're standing. Here's what looks teasable right now. Not much. Like, you could tease Seattle down. You could kind of tease Seattle down because my sharper shops have 7.5 with -105 or 7 -120, -125. So I think Seattle's an opportunity. And I would look to Miami up because of the low total, but it's really not a 1. It's at -1. So, like, I would be breaking the rules. And that's just the position you're in. When you're playing it with those, rules and parameters, the key is not breaking them. I opened with myself, Kel, with the Steelers yesterday, 2 open-end teasers. I don't think I'm going to close them today. I don't. I have Seattle on one of them because I just thought it would get to that 8. And that's why I put them into it. At least I'm right there. So hopefully Seattle comes through. But the rest, I'm going to wait for the playoffs, Kel. Let's wait for the playoffs and wait for better numbers that we could tease. Because, again, we only want to tease down 8.5, 8s, and 7.5, and tease up 1.5, 2, and 2.5. They got to be there at about 10 minutes to kick off. And just don't have a lot of them today, man. That's the bottom line.
Yep, absolutely. No reason, especially on those open teasers, that we need to force it. We've got tons of NFL action coming up for over a month until the Super Bowl. So I will wait to close some of those. VR, anything you want to leave our audience with? You guys can always follow VR on social media at Greek_Gambler, Greek_Gambler7 on TikTok. He puts out a ton of great stuff over there.
Yeah, and no reason to promote. You guys know I'm firing. I got a 5%. I'm going low volume this year, expected to shatter some records. A couple college basketball leans for you, steam moves for you. I haven't piggybacked any for my subscribers, but you may have a lean. 834 Purdue -6, 837 Murray State +11, 842 Washington +8.5, 843 over 149.5 Maryland, Oregon. Extra board games, Long Island -6, American -5. whether you follow, fade, or ignore, I swear, I hope you guys cash them, don't trash them, do damage in 2025. Smash that like button, because this young lady that comes on here every Saturday and Sunday, spending as much time as it takes to share all that actionable information, I can promise you, knowing her outside of the industry, she doesn't need to do it. Really doesn't need to do it. So appreciate her. Make sure you comment. Make sure you smash that like button, because she's not going to ask you for it. Do it for me. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Best of luck today.
If you guys are ever looking to hang out with VR on his extended rants, his extended knowledgeable information Sundays, anything that you guys have question-wise, he answers. He's over there on the Steam Room on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, available for premium subscribers. We'll see if we can't get him to do another free Steam Room for you guys coming up here in the next couple months. Another guy who thinks he doesn't need to be here, but Liverpool is playing, John Murray, is going to join us from the Westgate SuperBook. There he is. I was supposed to do another promo, but they brought you in so fast. I'll just get right into you. I'm so glad you finally got that picture hung. I'm just so happy. I'm still waiting on your Christmas present. I need to write the guy and be like, hey, listen, like I'm patient, but we're halfway through basketball season. Chop, chop. I was hoping it would be your new background.
3-0 in the Big East, Kelly. I mean, I'm not.
Oh, there you go.
You got me? Oh, God damn it.
We got you.
All right. You don't got me? All right. You don't have me.
No, we have.
Why did you say that?
Because at first your mouth was moving. I'm in North Florida Wi-Fi up here.
Let's go. I was about to click out of the show. Okay, let's start firing the questions. All right, I want to watch the game. Come on, don't say that. Let's go.
Score? Would you like to update us with the score update?
It's 0-0. Come on, let's do the show.
I thought you were supposed to call it 0-0.
Oh, it is 0-0. Okay, you're right. You got me. You got me all rattled, Kelly.
Soccer fan you are. All right, Liverpool going to score one goal during this. That is the only reason why John joins us on Sundays. Give us a look behind the counter. We're going to hit on some NFL briefly, just quickly, and then of course I want to talk college football playoff and college basketball. Make sure you guys give John a like, because it's early out there on the West Coast, and we kind of feel bad for the guy, right? They've just been getting killed all season long there in the NFL.
NFL has been tough, Kelly. You know that. We've done really well lately in college football. We did pretty well in the playoffs, but the NFL has been a nightmare. December was not good. October was terrible. Favorites never lose NFL games. It's very easy. You just bet on all the favorites, parlay them all together, and apparently that's all you have to do. No one told me that. I've been betting for like 20 years. No one ever told me that, Kelly.
I wish I would have got that memo this year. And in fact, I feel like I did. The witch may or may not have said that this was going to be a big favorites and over year, but I did not listen. So I digress on that. If you guys are watching the show with Joe O and Sammy P on BetQL with me on Thursdays, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, just don't worry about it. We'll get into more of her hocus pocus stuff before the Super Bowl. John Murray, talk to me about some liabilities today at the Westgate SuperBook in regards to the National Football League.
Oh, we definitely need your guy Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. That's a big one. There's a lot of money on the Green Bay Packers, -10. We're going to need New Orleans in another one of the 10 a.m. games. A lot of money on the Buccaneers. They laid 13 mostly. Now we're up to 14.5 on the Saints. These are not teams I'm looking forward to rooting for. We also are going to need Carolina. Carolina's +8. They're at Atlanta. This is going to be an ugly. Now that I'm looking at this, just to answer your question, I'm feeling nauseous thinking about spending 3.5 hours rooting for those three teams. That is not going to be a very enjoyable way to spend the day. Outside of those three, I think we're going to need Detroit tonight. Detroit, Sunday Night Football, obviously the best game of the day. Tons of action on that game. Lot of money here on the Vikings +3. If we could get the Lions to win by more than a field goal, I think it'd be a very nice end to the NFL regular season for us, which has been a tough run for us.
Any futures markets you guys are going to be cheering against? MVP, Super Bowl, AFC, NFC, divisional bets?
We've settled most of the division stuff, to tell you the truth. There's not really much left there. We do lose if your Denver Broncos make the postseason. I fully expect them to beat Kansas City today, because I don't think Kansas City wants to help the Bengals get into the postseason. So I do expect the Broncos to win. That will be a loss for us. As far as Super Bowl futures, we don't want the Steelers to win the Super Bowl. That would be really bad. But based on what I saw from Russell Wilson yesterday, I'm not going to lose much sleep worrying about the Steelers winning the Super Bowl. I
I'm
like
just
where we
happy they
are in
covered my
the.
teaser. Like that's the
So am I.
that was
That
the most
was a good result.
godforsaken football game. I mean, Saturday Night Football. Why would they subject us to Russell freaking Wilson?
Russell Wilson is awful, and if Pittsburgh wants to have any chance of beating Baltimore next weekend, I think they need to go to Justin Fields. Russell Wilson, he's not it. That's not going to work.
I would have to agree with you. Really quick, Teasing the NFL has a question for us. And it's not for me. It says for Kelly, but it's not for me because I had the Colts last week in Survivor. And John said he was going to be rooting for the Giants. And I knew I was completely screwed at that moment in time. But I was already locked in. There was nothing I could do. And thanks, Joe Flacco. Appreciate you, buddy. But Teasing the NFL wants to know if you get two teams, the Colts or the Chargers today, John, who are you going in Survivor?
But hold on a second, because I can see the graphics. That question said question for Kelly. That guy doesn't
And
care
I
about what
said,
I think. He
I'm
wants to.
opting out because I'm the
He
jackass who
doesn't
took the
care.
Colts last week. So if I tell the guy to take the Colts again this week, I'm the bigger jackass because that's exactly who I would take this week. I would take the
Well,
godforsaken
no.
Colts.
Let me give you my answer. I want to help out Teasing the NFL. You got to go, win or lose, you got to go Chargers, and I'm going to tell you why. The Chargers are minus 310 on the money line here at the Westgate. The Colts are minus 185. If that's not enough, the Colts don't have anything to play for. The Chargers, if they win today, they'll be the number 5 seed, and they're going to end up playing at Houston next week instead of having to go to Baltimore or Buffalo, which we consider those to be the two best teams in the NFL right now. So I say Chargers. They're a much bigger favorite. They've got their starting quarterback healthy, and they actually have an incentive today to win. Go Chargers. Kelly opted out. I don't think you can do
I
that.
knew
I
the
think when
question was
you're
for you
no,
all along.
it said question for Kelly. You can't opt out. We're like, this is the firing squad. We have to answer these people's questions, man.
This is the firing squad. Adam says this rant is why John Murray is the best. I'm going to parlay those 3 dogs in honor of him.
Don't do that, Adam.
Vomit.
Adam, do not do that. Okay, these dogs never win. Take your girlfriend to brunch or something. Do not do that. That's stupid, man.
Oh. It is.
Next
Maybe he
question.
just means plus the points. Maybe he means plus the points, not to win
Plus the
outright,
points.
because I cannot find a world where Justin Fields. Now you got Justin Fields in my brain. Caleb Williams is going to go into Lambeau and win that football game. We shall see. All right, let's go real quick. College football playoff. I've got a couple of ideas here about what I'm going to do. I'm holding an Ohio State plus 525 ticket to win the whole thing. I've got one plus 280 to make the college football playoff. So basically, I have Ohio State plus 280 to beat Texas is how I see it. And I think I should just sit back and relax. But I'm curious to see what you guys are seeing early on at the Westgate SuperBook. Those games are Thursday and Friday this week.
Well, just stoked to have games where both teams are going to be trying. You know, when the Bahamas Bowl ended yesterday and we lost on Buffalo, we looked at each other and we said, finally, we can just book some college football games. So the Orange Bowl, Thursday night, a lot of money on Notre Dame. A lot of money on Notre Dame. Almost all the tickets and the money are on the Irish. We went to 2.5 last night. Took a big bet on Notre Dame -2. We moved up to 2.5. Think about this when you're looking at that Notre Dame-Penn State game. Notre Dame did nothing offensively in their win over Georgia. They had a strip sack right before halftime. They scored a touchdown to go up 13-3. Then they returned the kickoff for a touchdown to start the second half, 20-3, and the game was basically over because Georgia couldn't move the ball offensively. Notre Dame did not do anything in that game, so we'll see what they can do against Penn State. Penn State very good defensively, and they don't have a backup quarterback. I think it's going to be a tougher game for the Irish than people realize. The second game, Kelly, you've got plus 280 on Ohio State money line. Don't be a you-know-what and hedge that. Are you kidding me? That is a phenomenal bet.
We've
got Ohio State at
Thank you. Everybody has been telling me I'm supposed to hedge this. I'm like, I'm not hedging this.
Hedge.
Even
You've got.
okay, do you think
you've got? Go ahead.
I've got plus 280 from right after the Michigan game. But here's where people are telling me to hedge. They're saying take the 6.5. with Texas and go for a middle. I don't think so.
Listen, I would not do that. If I was you, the only thing I would consider doing is maybe hedging in game. If it looked like things were going poorly, you could get off some of your bet. Let's say Texas gets out ahead, then you could make a decision and say, I don't like the way this is going. I might hedge something. But look, I think based on what I saw so far in the college football playoff, this is Ohio State's tournament to lose. If they lose this game, I don't want to go too far with this, but they should be almost ashamed of themselves. They spent so much money in the NIL portal. Their team is so much better than the other teams. They've got the best player in the country who should be the number 1 draft pick in April, except he can't go pro because he's a true freshman. And I'm talking about Jeremiah Smith. They cannot blow this game on Friday against a Texas team that they were somewhat fortunate just to beat Arizona State. So I would hedge nothing pregame. I'd consider hedging based on how the game was going on Friday night. I assume, knowing our girl, the lovely Kelly, she's going to be out at some sort of an establishment on Friday. She's going to have some cocktails, but she's going to have her phone on her, aren't you? You could always hedge
dry
at some
January.
point.
Dry January is upon us. I went to Ocean Prime the other night after our show, so I have sworn off booze for the rest of January. We'll see if I can make it.
Well, you could have a mocktail. Have a mocktail.
I had a mocktail last night with my dad. I came home in a good mood, and I got accused of drinking. I was in such a good mood. All jokes aside, what are we seeing tickets and money over there at the Westgate SuperBook?
Are you talking about the college? I mean, it's all right now. The first game is all Notre Dame. The second game is much more on Ohio State, but it's sort of the normal split that I'd expect when you have a 6-point favorite in a team that is just on a roll, a team that destroyed Oregon in the Rose Bowl. It's like 3-1 on the Buckeyes, but that to me isn't really that noteworthy. And we're not giving any home field advantage to Texas in this game. I know the game is in Arlington, Texas, Jerry World, but there's going to be so many Ohio State fans at that game, Kelly. Those Ohio State fans, they don't have anything better to do than to go down.
It's cold in Ohio right now. Why wouldn't you want to go to Dallas, Texas? I had a guy on Twitter tell me earlier. He's like, Kelly, it's in Jerry's World. And I go, okay, how many points should we give Texas for home field advantage?
It means nothing. I don't think that means anything. I think you're probably going to get about a 50-50 crowd. I would weight that 0.
I think even having a 75-25 crowd, you have seen how quiet Texas fans get. We saw it in the last game versus Arizona State. They got silent. They went up 14-0, and really quickly did that game turn on its head. All right, before we get into college basketball, Boomer Sooner TD88 wants to know, Liverpool, are they a lock to win the EPL, John Murray?
Don't say stuff like that. Don't say stuff like that, Boo. I don't like that question, and I would like that account to be muted. You can't.
They're no longer allowed to ask questions anymore. What is the score?
Don't say stuff like that.
Update? Is it 1-0?
It's 0-0 it's 0-0 at halftime, but 0-0. But the season goes until May. No, they're not a lock to win. Come on, Boomer Sooner. I'm not happy with that young man.
He is an OU fan. No. Okay, they're a little different down there in Oklahoma. I know. I'm from Kansas.
Hey, my mom was born in Oklahoma. Whoa, Kelly. My mom was born in Enid, Oklahoma. How dare you? How dare you?
You want to know what our best bets today are in good old NFL? John, who did you give out on Sammy P's show?
I mean, people probably want my best NFL bet so that they can bet the other team and have a very good chance of winning at this point. I don't. I told Sammy Boy I like Detroit. We had some really sharp money on the Lions -2.5. This morning, as far as really sharp bets we saw, had an account that we do respect take New England +3.5. New England's at home against Buffalo. Buffalo's locked into the 2 seed. New England, on the surface, they have nothing to play for, but their coaching staff doesn't care about that. Okay, their coaching staff, Mayo's got to be thinking, my job is, he's probably going to lose his job this offseason. And the last thing he cares about is the draft pick for April. So New England +3.5. You want late sharp money, we saw today.
Yeah, I have New England as the second half of one of my teasers that I gave out on Bet on It. I also agree with you on the Lions, but I did tease the Vikings, hoping for a nice, 4, 5, 6, 7 point win from Detroit there. And then I did play the Broncos right after VR said that they had seen some money on them. I know John Murray did not mention the Broncos there at the Westgate SuperBook being a play other than –
No.
go ahead.
We've seen a lot of bets on Kansas City, but I am a believer that Kansas City, I don't believe that Kansas City is going to be motivated to help the Bengals get into the postseason. That's all I can say about that. I mean, I know that Denver is a division rival of theirs, but if I'm Kansas City or Buffalo or Baltimore, the last team I want to see get in is the Bengals.
That's fair. Bengals offensively looked pretty good over the course of 4 quarters last night. Defensively, not so much. All right, John Murray, give me some sharp basketball. There's some really nice matchups today on the hardwood. I have not bet them yet, but they are on my long list. UCF over the Kansas Jayhawks plus 5.5. I don't know if I'm going to get to the money line or not after that ugly West Virginia loss. Congratulations to you. And then I also like Memphis minus 8.5. They have a little bit of a turnover problem. And sometimes they've been a better second half bet over the last 2 seasons, so I may wait to bet them at halftime.
Kelly will like this one, folks. They took Central Florida plus 5.5 and plus 5. Central Florida is at home. Kelly hates Kansas. So I always talk about how she hates Texas. Kelly hates Kansas. Irrational hatred of Kansas Jayhawks.
I definitely hate Kansas.
Yes, she does.
I think that's
yes, she does. She hates both of them. She hates them both. And then I also saw money on Oregon. Now that number's moved quite a bit. I saw money on Oregon minus 3. Oregon is now a 5-point favorite. That game is against Maryland, the Terps. That game's this afternoon. It is nice being able to talk about college basketball. I love college basketball.
That's actually how the show started, John. It's a last call until college basketball tips off. So that means we're going to start seeing you here on Sundays through college basketball season. You are the best. Also, we have a Splash Sports contest coming up. You don't know about this yet, but we're going to be doing an NFL playoff survivor. So your full participation is going to be needed there. I will get some details for you guys today. All right, John, you're the best. Go Reds, I think. And I'll be cheering.
So I got to do. So I've been volunteered to do this show through college basketball season, and I've got to do a Splash Sports contest. Yeah, because I got nothing else. I got nothing else going on, Kelly. So I'll be right on that. All right.
You're the best.
Thank you very much.
We always love him. If you guys are not following him, at Vegas Murray on X, he's kind of funny sometimes. It's definitely worth a follow. Maybe give a little insight behind the counter every once in a while. And you can also catch him on the show with me on Thursday nights here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, also broadcast for my X. Really quick before we get to Prez, we got about 30 seconds. And if you guys have not taken advantage of odds logic yet, you guys are missing out. This is the best odds screen that there is out there. It is brand new. And we are here to immediately improve your return on investment. You turn one game from a loser into a push. You turn one game from a push into a winner, and it is paying for itself. You're getting breaking injury alerts, public betting percentages, and you can customize the books and move them wherever you want. You want SuperBook first. You want Circa first. You want an offshore first. You can do it. I love this odds screen. Free 30 days right now with me. oddslogic.com/Kelly in Vegas. All right, let's bring in the Prez, who has been red hot. Prez, you know the rules. You get to come on the show when you're the best NFL handicapper at WagerTalk. You make the leaderboard. Last week was you, my friend. How has the NFL been treating you? It's been killing me slowly. I clearly should have been following your bets.
You know why I muted myself, Kelly? Because I was laughing in the middle of you and John's segment, and you guys have amazing chemistry. Honestly, it was really great to watch the two of you work together. As for my NFL, the season has been not great. Really, it was the teasers that killed my season. Otherwise, I would have had a profitable season. But my last few weeks have been outstanding, and I won again last night with Cincinnati, who, by the way, played outstanding defense. So now I am on an 11-1 NFL run coming into today, and I'm excited about today. I've got 4 plays up for my clients, and I think I'm going to have a perfect 4-0 football day. I love week 18. Most do not.
Wait, why do you love week 18? Week 18 is something that's still fairly new. What has it been around for? Is this our second or third season of week 18?
I mean the last week of the year. So week 17, week 16, I'm very old. Week 12.
My dad did ask yesterday. He goes, when did they start playing 18 weeks? I was like, I think it was last year, Dad, or 2 years ago. And he goes, I remember when they only played 16 weeks. I'm like, I don't think that was ever a thing. And he goes, I'm pretty sure it was definitely a thing.
Oh, it was a thing, Kelly. It was a thing in my adult life. I wonder when it changed, but I mean, for sure, I was an adult, for sure. I mean, I've been an adult for about 75 years, so it's probably likely.
All right, Bill Sandoval is going in early. If you guys have a question for Prez, drop it in the chat. He is going to be here up until kickoff, taking all your questions. If the questions stop, I'm getting the hell out of here because I got a lot of notes that I took between all of our guests so far, and I've got some last-minute bets to get in. Prez, let's talk about this Chargers-Raiders game.
I like the Chargers, Kelly, and I like it a lot. And the thing is, people have to put aside this must-win situation. Let's look at this game without the fact that the Chargers must win it to get Houston instead of Baltimore. I don't think you can name one single position on the field other than Bowers, the rookie, where Vegas is better than the Chargers. I think the Chargers not only have a better offense and a better defense, they have a better quarterback, they have better wide receivers, they have better edge rushers, they have better inside linebackers, they have better secondary, they have a better coach. So just from the seeing eye test, this Chargers team is better than Vegas no matter how you slice it. Then you add on top of that the fact that the Chargers need to win this game, and Harbaugh said so, which is very important. Everything that is coming out of the LA Chargers dressing room is seeding matters. This game matters. This game counts. And the Chargers are going to be a tough out. I don't think anybody wants to face this Chargers team. They just beat New England 40-7. Could that be a score in this game? It could. I think they're going to hold the Raiders down. I think the Raiders team total under would be a good bet. I think the Raiders are going to struggle to score. And I think the Chargers are going to get out fast. This Chargers team has no issue scoring right now. 34 against Denver, 40 against New England. The Raiders simply won't be able to keep up. I don't think the Raiders can put up more than 27 on them. I think the Chargers get us to 27-31. I like the Chargers to win this game, and I like them to cover, and I'm betting them to cover. This is a client play.
Ooh, Prez giving out premium selections right off of the bat. I love to see it.
Not only is this a client play, Kelly, this is the single only ATS client play I put out this week and this Sunday. So this is a strong play for me. And I didn't put it out at -4.5, Kelly, because I didn't want to do that. As a handicapper, I have a responsibility to my clients. I actually waited for the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game to end to see where this line would fall. And I did get it at -6.5. Very important. That's going to be about a 6.5% difference in win rate over a long period of time. 6.5 is where I bet this game.
All right, let's go on to a game that I find very interesting. Mac Hudson wants to know your thoughts on the Texans-Titans. Titans all the way up to a 2-point favorite here on the odds logic screen. Are the Texans really dumb enough to win this football game? I think they are.
You know, Kel, I think from the Texans' perspective, they want to go into the playoffs feeling a little better about themselves. I do think they come out and try win this game, but it's why I think the play here is on the over, Kel. 36.5 is super low, and this Tennessee team has shown us that they are trying to score, at least trying. I think we're going to see both teams go for it on fourth down a lot. And I think ultimately it will come down to those fourth downs. But, you know, Tennessee only put up 13 against Jacksonville. I get it. But before that, it was 30 and 27. at 36.5, can we get one of these teams into the mid-20s? If so, I think this game goes over. I'm not going to touch the side on this game. I'm going to basically pass on this game outright. But if I had to find a bet on this game, I do lean on the over.
Oh, Prez, there's no way I'm taking that under. Will Levis is good for a pick six. Watch, wait, and see. And if I bet the under, that's exactly what's going to happen in that one. 100% going to see. He's going to be slinging it because he's going to be, whether it's with the Titans, I doubt it, or with another team, he's going to want to be showcasing, hey, look, I do deserve to be at least a backup in this league.
Right. And, ultimately, not a guy who throws pick sixes throws touchdown passes too. So, it's gunslingers like that. I think Will Levis is good for 3 touchdowns today. One will likely be for the other team.
All right, Prez is on the over. We agree there. Got some more questions in the chat. Lauren wants to know, Cowboys Commanders today. VR said that they did take the first half team total under 14 of the Commanders. So I did bet that as well with him. Your thoughts on this one? This Cowboys seems kind of interesting. We're hearing rumors about Mike McCarthy possibly going to be the Bears coach. I don't know what to make of this Dallas team. Obviously, Dak Prescott getting hurt just turned everything into a tailspin. But overall, they've been playing pretty cohesive ball. We've seen some good things from Cooper Rush.
Except for last week against Philadelphia, where they lost 41-7. Firstly, I do not like the under in the first half in this game. I'm not against it, but there's just, from my perspective, no reason for it. This is indoors. I don't know how hard Dallas is going to play. Their defense is injured. And I do think Washington is going to come out strong. So I don't love that bet. On this game, I would look to take Dallas here. I know Washington wants to win this game, and there's a huge difference between playing Philadelphia and the Rams. And with Green Bay and Washington, both are going to go out there and try to win this football game. But I do think Dallas gives it their all. I think we're going to get a really strong performance from Dallas. And we saw that against Tampa Bay, Carolina, Cincinnati, New York Giants, and Washington, who they beat 34-26, albeit in a crazy game last week. But the bottom line, Kel, is I want to look to bet against must-win teams. Although I like the Chargers, I don't like Denver. I don't like Green Bay, and I don't like Washington. So there's just too many points for Dallas. And I think this Dallas team is proud. And I think they come out trying, especially on offense. I like the +7.
All right, Prez, let's get into a little bit more about how to handicap week 18. As I mentioned, I have just never loved it. There's a lot of unknowns. Obviously, the bookmakers have caught up on all of the prop bettors, knowing the incentives, and just start juicing the hell out of all of those bets as well. So right. I kind of just did a couple of teasers, and I just took a step back and said, you know what? There's not a lot that I love. I did end up betting the Broncos, and I was kind of looking at some of the needs that John had mentioned that the Westgate needs, in addition to some of the sharp action that VR saw. And the only one that really stuck out to me there was the New Orleans Saints. I don't want to take the New Orleans Saints. So I'm just going to ultimately hang back with my teasers and the Broncos today. Talk to me about maybe what we should be looking at, what we should be looking to avoid for week 18.
So, Kelly, the reason I love the last week of the NFL season from a betting perspective is it provides us with the ability to say no. And that's probably the most important thing in both investing your money in private equity deals or investing your money in the market or investing your money in sports betting. If you want to make a great bet, make sure you need the ability to say no. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, easy to say no to. Buffalo, New England, Philadelphia, New York Giants. There's so many games that you can just shove to the side and allows you to focus on games that are important. Like, for instance, the Green Bay Chicago game or the Denver game. So right off the bat, the number one thing that week 18 provides us with is the ability to just say, screw it and pass. The number two thing it provides us with is this understanding of how a team is going to play. For instance, Will Levis is back, not Mason Rudolph. The coaches are telling us ahead of time what they're going to do. We know Josh Allen will play maybe the first down, maybe the first series, maybe, the first quarter, and then they're going to pull him. The in-game betting opportunities are amazing in this type of scenario. You're going to have a scenario where Miami and Denver are playing together. Miami's going to be up by 2. They're going to look at the scoreboard late in the third quarter and see Denver up by 40. Miami is going to lose that game. There's a lot of emotional things that come into account. But the last thing I want to say is don't be scared of betting overs in the last week of the season. Last year, it was 9-8 to the under. But on a whole, overs are where to go in meaningless games. You're going to see more teams going for it on fourth down, more aggressive plays, less punting at midfield, which is the under killer. So I like to look at overs for this entire week across the board and then sort of say which ones aren't going to go over. And I want to leave you with one last thing, because I know you mentioned the New England Patriots. If the New England Patriots lose this game today, they get first pick in the draft. There is no way the New England Patriots are as stupid as the New York Giants. We have a second-tier group of players in Buffalo who don't see the field on a regular basis, who want to pad their stats and want to find a career against a group of players that are likely going to tank. So be careful on New England today.
Fair enough. Words of a guy who's been watching the NFL for the last 75 years. All right, we have a question here about the Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos. They are up. I'm shocked. This line just keeps going one way. John Murray said they were seeing Chiefs money, but it didn't matter. Broncos,
yep.
Pretty quick to kick off. Oh, no, wait. Broncos is one of the later games. I apologize here on the odds screen, one of the 4 p.m. Eastern games. Do you think it's going to get 11.5, 12 here, Prez? Like, is this just going to get out of control?
Well, just to let everybody know, we are now in dead numberville. So who cares? 11, okay. 12, 13, who cares? 13 is not a dead number, but 11 and 12, who cares? With that said, guys, John Murray, who is just awesome, talks about the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs doesn't want Cincinnati in. Bullshit. They would love to see Cincinnati head over to Buffalo, have those two teams beat the shit out of each other. Why not? What do they want? Buffalo to get a free ride all the way to Kansas City? I don't buy that for a second. And I also don't buy that Kansas City is going to lay down and die. Kansas City has been in this situation 5 years in a row. They've covered 3 of those 5. They've won 2 outright. They beat the Chargers last year in this very scenario. This Kansas City team, they got guys that are backups that are better than starters. Carson Wentz is going to come out flying. Will he throw a couple of interceptions? Maybe. But he's not, Spencer Rattler. He's still a quarterback. 11 points. Kansas City is one of my favorite. Kansas City is the last bet that didn't make my card, but a bet that I like a lot going into the later games.
Oh boy, Prez and I head to head. Paco, what's up, Paco? Wants to know about the Seahawks Falcons Wong teaser. Do you guys approve? KIV and Prez, they are in the chat. All right, Paco, here's the reality. I looked at doing Falcons as one of the open teaser spots with the Steelers, but ultimately because VR kind of passed on him and he said Seattle wasn't in that role either right now, I think I'm just going to sit back and wait. I've got 3 open teaser legs just hanging out with the Steelers, and I will find a spot for them between now and the Super Bowl. It is what it is.
Kelly, I agree 100%. Firstly, try not to tease those games down. Ideally, you want to go up. So right off the bat, you're coming down. Seattle and LA, I'm okay with putting Seattle into a teaser, but hell no to Atlanta. What you got to take into account in this Atlanta game is what is that team's mindset going to be when they look over on the scoreboard and see Tampa Bay winning 40-3. So you're going to put your hard-earned money on the emotions of a bunch of football players, no. I would stay as far away from that Atlanta game as possible. If you have to, yeah, so no, I'm not putting any of that in a teaser. And Kelly, I agree. Wait. You're going to get better teaser opportunities. Wait.
All right, waiting in the wings. We got about 14 minutes until kickoff. If you guys have a question for Prez, we're going to hang out here until 1 p.m. Eastern. If you guys are done with questions, I'm going to get out of here because I have a lot of bets to get in. I did just go ahead and place that UCF +5. There's some 5 still out there on the odds logic screen, so make sure you guys shop around. That is UCF +5 over the University of Kansas. I did not sprinkle on the money line. See, John Murray, I don't hate them that much. Looks like no more questions, Prez. Any other games you would like to touch on before we get out of here?
Well, Kel, I'll go down this at 100 freaking miles an hour. I like Tampa Bay at 14 or less. I like Buffalo. I like the over in the Chicago Green Bay game. I like the New York Jets. I like Kansas City. I like the over in the Chargers Vegas game. I like the under in Jacksonville in Indianapolis. I like Carolina. I like Dallas in the over in the Washington Dallas game. I'm passing on the Rams game completely. I lean on San Fran, but I won't get there. I'm passing on Houston and Tennessee. If you want to know what I'm doing in the big game tonight, buy my play, and I'm passing on the New York Giants in Philadelphia. So that's the entire board, top to bottom, what I'm looking at. You can find a deep dive on the NFL presidential address, although you're running out of time for that. I am on an 11-1 run in NFL tonight. I gave out a client play in the LA Chargers. That's my favorite ATS bet today. So that's a big play for me. I'm 61% in NFL ATS regular season bets in the last 3 years. So that's it from my perspective. Kelly, what a pleasure to do these shows with you. You guys do such a good job.
Yeah, we have a great time. Saturday and Sunday mornings. Whenever I'm on the East Coast, I'm in a lot better mood than the West Coast. It's way too early for me out there, especially after being in Vegas. And you know what happens in Vegas. He is the Prez. You guys can catch him every single day on WagerTalk today. You guys can also watch his presidential address up on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. He does a wonderful job with that. Before we let you guys go, wanted to remind you ahead of the spread, we have a new episode coming out tonight. That is where Ronald Kabang and Ski Profit go over the night slate. They live on the West Coast. They're advantageous to bet those overnights, find those early numbers, get ahead of the market, ahead of the spread. A new show on the WagerTalk YouTube channel with Hakeem Profit and Ronald Kabang. Those guys are awesome together. Make sure you guys check that out. It will be up tomorrow morning. If you guys are like me and going to bed before this one airs live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, we appreciate you guys. We wish you the best of luck in Week 18 in any of those survivor pools that you guys are still alive in. I am not, but I will be cheering for all of you. We'll see you guys back here next week for Wild Card Weekend. And of course, we'll have VR joining us, John Murray, and I will figure out which handicapper is number 1 at WagerTalk on the leaderboard, and that will be who is sitting in the coveted guest chair just for you guys. Appreciate you all, and good luck today.